it's me, Crystal, and today I thought it would be fun to do the ultimate book tag. So I will link the video I watched below, and then I will link the blog post that video linked to also below. So there are 25 questions, and I think maybe it's kind of a rapid fire thing. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to try to do, is just answer these questions as quick as possible because I think that would be fun. Also, you might notice I rearranged my bookshelves again, or maybe you don't notice, but I'm doing massive bookshelf rearranging. And so I'm in the middle of that. Right now, everything is in the right place. I'm just trying to figure out how to best display the books without there being just like massive amount of empty space. But anyway, also, you see these notebooks right there? Those are next year's planner and reading journal that I made. I made the entire planner myself. It was extremely tedious, and I wasn't planning on being done until the end of September, but I was just, I had the design done, and I was anxious to like get it printed, so in case I needed to get it reprinted, or in case there was a hiccup somewhere, but everything turned out, I think, really good. So I'm 100% done, and I know it's August, and everybody thinks that's super early, but I think I'm just like a month early, which is great. But anyway, I will talk about what I'm doing with my bookshelves when everything is settled, but I'm excited about it, and let's get into the tag. So the first question is, do you get sick while reading in the car? And no, I don't get sick. Question 2 is, which author's writing style is completely unique to you and why? I mean, if you saw my favorites video from last year, you probably already know what I'm going to say. I have to go with Mona Awad. Like, I have never read books written the way she writes her books. And if you don't know, Mona Awad has 3 books out. She has 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl, Bunny, and All's Well. And so I've read all of her books now, and I've loved all of her books. Bunny is still my favorite. But, oh my gosh, she just has a very unique writing style, and I just love it. And it is so weird and like academic and like a little pretentious, but like on purpose, and so like it's fun. It's just really, really good. And it's my favorite thing, and it's so odd, and I love it. Question 3, Harry Potter or Twilight? Give 3 reasons why. Harry Potter, because there is magic. I think the world, just overall, the world is more magical and more fun and more like something I would want to live in. 2, I just think it's more interesting overall. I think the creatures are more interesting. The world is more interesting. And 3, I just think there's more depth to everything overall. 4, do you carry a book bag? Yes. If so, what's in it besides books? Pens. I have a lot of pens. You guys can't see my desk, but I have 2 drawers, and they're both filled with pens. Now they're shallow drawers, and then I have more pens in another drawer, and then I have pens all over my desk. I have pens on my coffee table. I have pens on my couch. I have pens in my book bag. There's a few other things in there, but it's mostly pens. I really like pens. Question 5, do you smell your books? Yes. And I try to cut it out of the videos most of the time when I'm sniffing it because it's, it's a little weird, but I really like the smell of books. New books, older books, fancy books. They all smell really good. Question 6, books with or without illustrations? Both. I like illustrations in books, and I'm not like wanting illustrations in a book that doesn't have illustrations. So I'm happy either way. Question 7, what book did you love while reading but discovered later it wasn't quality writing? This has not happened to me. I've never gone back and looked at a book later and was like, wow, the writing is really bad. I noticed things like that. I've pretty much always noticed things like that. Sometimes it has bothered me, sometimes it hasn't. And the writing doesn't have to be amazing for me to love the book. I think it enhances the reading experience, of course. But I notice when it's not good. And as long as it's not super distracting, I can still have a really good time. Question 8. Do you have any funny stories involving books from your childhood? I don't think I have any funny stories, but anyone who has seen a cartoon Beauty and the Beast, there's this scene, I think it might be the opening, not the opening scene, but the first scene after the opening scene, where we meet Belle and she's walking through the town with a book in front of her face and she's just kind of like dodging people and she's not paying attention to anybody. That was me in middle school. I would walk down the halls with my nose in a book, just kind of, you know, dodging people. And, you know, there were a few people who would try to, you know, take the book from me or knock it out of my hands, but yeah, I don't know if that's funny. But I'm surprised I didn't run into people. You get pretty good at like spatial awareness, and so you can keep your nose in the book and you just kind of weave through people. I don't know, I was pretty good at it. Question 9, what is the thinnest book on your shelf? And that would be, I think it's called Alice the Absent by A.G. Howard. It's like a Alice in Wonderland prequel story. She has a book series that's an Alice in Wonderland retelling. And so she wrote like a prequel short story to the series that was like a pre-order incentive for a physical copy, but you can also buy the ebook copy online, I'm pretty sure. So that's the thinnest book on my shelf. It's like, I don't know, 15, 20 pages, something like that. Question 10, what is the thickest book on your shelf? And that would be my Barnes & Noble edition Shakespeare anthology. I've had these questions before, so I know them off the top of my head. I don't know how long that book is, but it's over 1,200 pages, I think. And it's a very thick book. Question 11, question 11. Do you write as well as read? Do you see yourself being an author in the future? Okay, you may or may not know, I have written a lot of books. I think I've written like 25, and I self-published for a few years, and I did 4 novels and a poetry collection. So, yeah. What was the question? But right now, I'm not writing. I'm actively not writing. I didn't have the urge to write for several months, but every once in a while, like in the last few months, I'm kind of getting a tiny urge to write that I have to keep stomping on because I'm just not in the mood right now. So I don't know if I'm ever going to write again and kind of burn myself out so bad, like so bad. So I don't really see myself being an author in the future at this point. But you never know. Things could heal and I could be writing a lot again one day, maybe. But for a long time, the answer was yes, I read a lot and I wrote a lot. But right now, no. Question 12, when did you get into reading? I don't know. Like, I remember hearing some story about how some guy realized he wanted to be a writer, like he was like a freshman in college. Listening to like some author give a talk and he just had like this light bulb moment. I just thought that was so beautiful because I never had that. It's like as soon as I could, before I could read, actually I would flip through books and make up stories based on the pictures. And I've been writing and reading as long as I can remember, and they've always just kind of gone hand in hand like that. So I don't remember when I started reading. It was very early, like, I don't know, 4 or 5, something like that. And I've been super into reading ever since, my whole life. Super into stories. Question 13, what is your favorite classic book? I think it's A Little Princess. I borrowed that book from the library a lot when I was growing up. They also have a movie that I watched a lot. I love that movie. It made me cry. Every single time I watch it, it's so good. I could cry right now just thinking about it. I've been wanting to reread that though, so we'll see if I still really, really love it because I literally have not read that book in so long. But I want to say it's by Frances Hodgson. It's the same person who wrote A Secret Garden. Yeah, it's Frances Hodgson Burnett, which also really loves A Secret Garden. Question 14, what was your best subject in school? Obviously, it was English. I was an English major. It was pretty easy for me. I loved it for the most part. Not a big fan of grammar classes. Like, I had to take this linguistics class when I was in college. And it was so hard. But I actually really enjoyed the class though. So, yeah, I'm an English nerd. Through and through, all the way. Question 15. If you were given a book as a present that you read before and hated, what would you do? I just give it away. I don't think anybody's ever given me a book as a gift. Like, I've been given books, but like not like as like a birthday or Christmas gift or something. I don't think so. People usually give me gift cards. But if I did get a book as a present that I already read and hated, I would just unhaul it, give it away. It's fine. I think anybody who knows me would probably be afraid to give me a book because I have so many. So, anyway, moving on. Question 16. What is a lesser known series that you know of that is similar to Harry Potter or the Hunger Games? Yeah, this is not a good question for me. I don't read a lot of series in general. If I'm reading the series, it's because it's really popular and I've heard a lot of stuff about it. I don't tend to pick up series that much on my own. Not on purpose. I will say, I do read a lot of graphic novels. I feel like if people like Harry Potter, they might like Magic Knight Rare. I love Magic Knight Rare, and I don't think there are too many. I've never seen anybody talk about it or mention it. They recently came out with like these 25th anniversary editions, which kind of makes me feel old because I remember when this series came out. But anyway, there's part 1 and there's part 2, and there's 3 volumes in each part, and it's so good. It's about there are these 3 girls that are like the chosen warriors for like this magical kingdom. So it's like a portal fantasy, and if the world is in danger, then these warriors are called on and they're pulled from their world. So they're pulled from Tokyo Tower because they all happen to be there on a field trip, and they're pulled into this world and they have to save it because the world is falling apart because the pillar, who is the person who holds the kingdom together with her prayers, she's been kidnapped and she's falling apart, and so the world is falling apart. And it's so good and magical, and there's like, you know, action and danger and romance. It's so good, and I'm planning on doing a reread soon. So I feel like if you like magical stories with a lot of fighting and, you know, some political intrigue, but like the interesting kind of political intrigue, because there's like some world politics going on and some things that they need to fix, and some things, you know, about their, you know, the way they run the kingdom that's not working that needs to change, and it's just so good. And yeah. Question 17 is, what is a bad habit you always do besides rambling while filming? I think I have a bad habit of like repeating myself, and I don't mean like just repeating myself in general. I mean, like, I will start talking about a book and then I'm like, I'll realize I said something wrong, and so instead of just, you know, keeping it moving or correcting it and keeping it moving, like, I start over, and so I end up with like 5, you know, different times, and I'm talking about this book, and by the time I get to the 5th time, I just give up and I just go with like the 1st or 2nd time anyway, because I start getting frustrated. So I need to stop doing that. Question 18, what is your favorite word? Right now, my favorite word is pontificate. It's been my favorite word for probably 7 years now. I watched this show called Drop Dead Diva, and it's about there's this lawyer, this super smart lawyer, and she like hits her head and she's like in a coma, and at the same time she's like hitting her head and going into like this vegetative state, this supermodel hits like she's like in her convertible and she's like painting her nails and putting on mascara to say that's something crazy, and she runs into her fruit truck and dies, and so she ends up in limbo, and they're trying to figure out, like, you know, what to do with her, because they're like, I'm not really sure you're supposed to be up here. I don't know what's going on. And she's like, can I just go back? Like, I have a really important audition today or whatever. And she hits the button and she wakes up in the lawyer's body, who's this plus size girl. And of course, she was like this super skinny, like 20-something-year-old blonde model. And she ends up in this plus size lawyer's body who's like 30. And it's so interesting. Anyway, there's this scene where well, it falls apart at the end, but we're not going to talk about that. But there's a scene where they're having I don't know what it's called, maybe a briefing or something, and it's her and this other lawyer and this judge. And the other lawyer's like, your honor, she's pontificating. And she's like, pontificate this. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this word? And I've been obsessed with it ever since. I use it in this sentence every once in a while. It basically means to speak pompously, dogmatically, judgmentally, whatever. You know, like you're looking down on somebody. So I really enjoy saying that word, and it's just like a really fun word to say. Question 19. Are you a nerd, a dork, or a dweeb? I feel like that should say, are you a nerd, a geek, or a dork, or a dweeb? Anyway, I'm obviously a nerd. Red and Link had this epic nerd versus geek rap battle. And I wanted to call myself a geek. I really did. Because I just feel like geeks are a little bit cooler than nerds. But I couldn't relate to the geek part of the rap battle. So I'm definitely a nerd. So question 20. Vampires or fairies, and why? Every time I think about fairies, I think Tinkerbell. And while I like Tinkerbell, she's not really fierce. And I just really like vampires. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of vampires. Have been for a very long time. I just think they're cool, they're dark, they're sexy, they're disturbing, you know? And I just really like, you know, the night thing, the prowling, you know, not the drinking of blood, but it's fun in a story, not in real life. But I just think vampires are so cool. But maybe if I read some more fairy books, maybe they'll be cool, but they're not cool right now. Not on the few fairy books I have read. They haven't been that cool. Not cooler than vampires. Question 21. Shapeshifters or angels, and why? I'm more of a shapeshifter person. I have read books with, you know, angels as a supernatural thing. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know. I just... Shapeshifters, I like shapeshifters. I just think it's really cool. I just think being able to shapeshift into something, it's cool. And as far as I can tell, angels are mostly like, you know, guardians, which is great. But, you know, they're not like shapeshifting and, you know, to a unicorn or a dog or a rabbit or something. Okay, question 22. Spirits or werewolves, and why? I like spirits. I feel like in a book world, the spirits, you know, I feel like you have more you can do there. I feel like werewolves are pretty much like, you know, they're beasties. So, you know, they turn into a werewolf and like that's it. You know, I feel like you can have good spirits, you can have vengeful spirits, you can have hauntings. I just feel like there's a lot you can do there. Like there's a lot more versatility. Question 23, zombies or vampires, and why? No, I hate zombies. Okay, I know I've mentioned this, but it's like I have a very high tolerance for some gross vampire stuff, but I draw the line at like actual eating of people. Like I can't do zombies, I can't do cannibals. The only zombie movie I ever liked was My Boyfriend's Back, which came out, when that movie came out, it was so long ago. It was like the 90s. And I watched, Warm Bodies. When I was at a writing conference, the author was there doing live commentary during the movie, which was just so fun. And I don't think I could have got through that movie otherwise, because there's just a couple of scenes that were like so disturbing. If I had been alone, I would have been scared. So those are the only two like zombie movies that I have enjoyed. Yeah. I hate zombies. They're so gross. Like, they're literally rotting corpses. It's so gross. Like, who is going to pick a zombie over a vampire? And you might be like, vampires are dead. I'm like, no, they're not dead. They're undead. they're not a reanimated corpse. They're a supernatural being. It's much, much less disgusting. So obviously I pick vampires. Okay, question 24. Love triangles or forbidden love? Forbidden love. 100%. I love a good, forbidden love story. I'm really into the Dimitri and Rose thing in Vampire Academy, which I know is so inappropriate. I really like forbidden romance in books. I like it when you have like the princess and there's like the farmhand and they're not allowed to be together. Just stuff like that. It's just so romantic. It's fun. It's really fun. Okay, question 25. Full-on romance books are action-packed with a few love scenes. I'm definitely a romance as a subplot person. It's why I don't read a lot of romance books, and why when I was reading a lot of romance books, I was reading historical romance, because I just felt like there was more plot stuff going on. Like, the story is about getting person A with person B and getting them together and getting them past their issues so they can live happily ever after. But it's in this historical setting, and it was just more fun. Whenever I read contemporary romance, I'm like, is this whole book just about these two people getting together? It's not interesting. So, definitely romance is a subplot person. Okay, so those are all the questions. And I will put the questions below. And in case you want to, just go through the description box and answer the questions on your own for fun, or blog post or video or whatever you want to do, and it's fun. So that is all for this video. I will see you guys next week with my reading wrap up, which is going to be so sad because I was really busy this month working on those projects, even though it was not necessary to get them all the way done this early. But I can't wait to make videos about them because I think they turned out good, and I'm excited to see how they work for me and everything. But anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of August, which ends tomorrow. And I'll see you guys next month. And have a great week. And I will see you on Labor Day. Bye.